The hay rides, the bonfires for Friday Night Football, the changing colors of the leaves. What is there not to love about fall, especially the comfort food we get to eat? And nothing says comfort food to me than a good old bowl of pasta. So today we're gonna make a fall pasta. We're gonna use a sheet pan for less cleanup, so not so many dishes. And we're gonna use classic flavors because after all, it is butternut squash season. We're going to add a lot of layers of flavor with an awesome pancetta base, some onion, and then a crunch of a great kale to even make this something proud to feed your kids. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm all about store-bought swaps when it comes to butternut squash. It's not really user-friendly when it comes to cutting up your own, but what kind of cooking show would this be if I did not cut a butternut squash for you? So I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's not too complicated, it just can be a bear if you don't have a nice sharp knife and a great peeler. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our butternut squash. You can also use delicata squash, which actually is a little bit easier to cut. And you're gonna take off kind of like root to tip. So we wanna slice that root off, and then, or stem I should say, and then we're gonna go in and we're gonna carefully cut off the base, okay? So those two pieces we don't need. Again, do you have your trash bowl? I hope you do. And now we're gonna cut this down the center. When you're looking for butternut squash, you just wanna make sure that it's clean, it doesn't have a lot of brown spots on the outside, and that it's still firm. So I went and cut it in half. Now we have to scoop out the seeds like you would if this was pumpkin. So take a spoon and just easily scoop that out and get it nice and clean, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna dice this up into chunks. Again, if you have the time, if you're looking to save yourself some money, or if you like to go to the farmer's market or the stands by the side of the road and support your local farmers, you know, this is what you do. You'll cut up your own butternut squash. But again, I ain't gonna tell if you buy it all pre-done for you. But before we dice, we're going to take and peel the skin off. This might be easier than actually cutting the squash. Or maybe not. Okay, we're down to our final few pieces, which is awesome. Again, they don't have to be uniform in size, just close enough because you do want it to all cook evenly. Not have any really hard pieces of squash. That's never a good experience. All right. Cut that up. There we go. All right, so now that we've got the squash all done, we're gonna cut up our onion. But instead of dicing it, I think with this, what's really nice, I'm using angel hair pasta, is to have a nice thin slice of onion. So I'm gonna pull out my mandolin. Red onion is just phenomenal with butternut squash. Normally, my rule is onion is an onion. You know, you can swap out a yellow for a red, a scallion for a red. It really doesn't matter. And it's still kind of the case here, but there's something about the red color up against the butternut squash, the orange, that just looks fabulous. So if you have a mandolin, great, use it. It's just a nice safety feature. If you don't, you're gonna just cut this towards the side. Okay, so you're gonna have, I don't know what I'm saying here. You're gonna have your root, the root end, kind of to the side. Okay, you're not gonna cut it this way like you were doing a dice. But with the mandolin, I'm just going to go ahead, stick this, and we're gonna get a really thin slice, maybe about 1/8 of an inch. Why is this not? Hold on, give me a second here, everybody. What's going on? There we go. Don't tell me my mandolin's broke. Well, Stacey loves her kitchen gadgets, that's for sure. A mandolin is great for slicing like scalloped potatoes or gratin potatoes. Again, thin pieces, and I think we are on the last leg, but let's try it. Let's try it out. All right, so here we go, nice. Oh no, she's still alive. She's still alive. Okay, because I want you to see how nice and thin these get, these nice thin strips. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut them in half because I don't want rings in my pasta, but I do want like these long, nice pieces because it'll really lay well together with the angel hair. And that's it. All right, we're gonna throw this right in. Woo! Just be prepared for some tears. We're gonna throw this in with the butternut squash. And then what we wanna do is we really wanna add the thick layer of flavor. I like to use guanciale. Guanciale is a pork cheek, and it's very popular in Italian cooking, especially with pasta sauces, sometimes stews, because it really gives a nice heavy layer of flavor, a really great body. Of course, it's hard to find. I didn't have time to get to the Italian store, and my grocery store didn't have it. So I'm gonna substitute some diced pancetta for this. You can absolutely use prosciutto, or you can use bacon and just cut it in a nice dice. So I'm gonna go ahead and put about 4 ounces of some nice pork fat in here. Okay, we've got this layered with some olive oil. I'm not gonna add any salt to this at this point. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw this out on our sheet pan. And we're going to pop this into an oven at 400 degrees. Go ahead and do that. And because my bowl was a little bit smaller than I wanted to, I would have mixed this all into the bowl with a spoon, but there was no room to go. So I'm just gonna really make sure that the oil covers everything and all of this gets mixed nicely. Again, I feel so much like my grandmother. Like, there was hardly many utensils in her house when it came to cooking, just they were made for eating, right? She would use her hands in everything. So I kind of feel old school here. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pop this into the oven. We're gonna let this go for about 30 minutes. Everything's gonna start to caramelize and brown, and it's just gonna turn out real great. And in the meantime, we can start salting our water and getting that to a boil. All right, so boiling water for pasta. The key is to have a nice heavily salted pot of water. You almost should dip your finger into the water and it should taste almost like the sea. That's when I feel you have enough salt. And the reason why is because the salt is really going to add flavor to the pasta noodles, and again, just build another level of a great experience. So, and then you're just gonna boil this to the package directions. I like sometimes using this recipe with like a rigatoni, a thick noodle that could almost be similar in shape to the cubes of the butternut squash. But today we're going to use angel hair pasta. Wait till you see why, because you know, it's just fall inspired. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so here's the pasta. It's an angel hair from Pasta Partners, but isn't it adorable? Because look at the fall colors. So I just had to use it. Again, it really doesn't matter what shape you use, but just make sure you cook it to the package directions. All right, so while the water's boiling, before we can add the pasta, let's prep our kale. Kale has very much had a moment lately, and there's all different kinds out there. For this recipe, I love to use a kale that has many names. It's a lacinato or lacinato, depending on how you pronounce it. It's also known as Tuscan or dinosaur kale. I like this because it's just got a nicer feel to it. It's gonna have a great crunch. It's a deeper color than, say, a red kale, and it's slightly thinner, so it's more versatile to use. So really what's really great, I just kind of cut off like the very ends that might have kind of a stiffer stem. Don't throw these away. They're great for soups and stews or a salad because of the crunch. But in this case, I'm just gonna use the long leaf and I'm gonna cut it up into 1-inch pieces or so. Or if you don't feel like doing that, you can easily rip it up as well, depending on like the look that you want of your pasta. So cut or just tear it up into pieces, which is what I'm gonna do here, because I kind of like that non-conformity, you know, not everything is perfect, you know, kind of like my personality. Y'all, everybody's staying quiet. They know better. This recipe makes, I think, enough pasta for 2 if you use half a pound of pasta. If you want to feed a big family, take everything that I said in the video, use a full pound of pasta and double the ingredients. Ooh, does that smell like fall? All right, so this was in about 30 minutes. The butternut squash is caramelizing. That pancetta is just really adding that wonderful fatty, gamey flavor. Now we're gonna add our Tuscan kale, or lacinato kale. And we're gonna pop this back in the oven for about 10 minutes, just so the kale can kind of get a little bit tender, yet crisp at the same time. So the pasta is now in the bowl because it's perfectly al dente. The angel hair is awesome because it only took about 3 minutes to make, but I'm gonna pull out everything from the oven and we're gonna add this in on top of our pasta. So, and I want you to see what I love about this is how crispy the kale got. So really, the bite on this is gonna be absolutely satisfying. So just go ahead and add this in. I'm trying to be nice and tidy for you by doing it this way. Usually I just dump the whole darn sheet pan right into the bowl. But we're trying to have manners here. And then, to bring out even a little bit more saltiness, that plays really well with the pancetta, is we're gonna top this with cheese. Pecorino Romano. I love the salty bite of that cheese. We're gonna freshly grate it instead of buying it pre-grated because fresh is best when it comes to cheese. But again, store-bought swap, you don't have the time. I mean, this is supposed to be that easy fall comfort food that's perfect for busy weeknights or just when you don't have a lot of time to cook, or you rather just stay on your couch a little bit longer than standing in the kitchen. So I totally am okay if you use pre-grated. So there it is. Here is our Pecorino Romano. And then we're gonna do lots of it. So again, a little bit of an arm workout for you. I even reserved some of the pasta water before I drain the pasta because sometimes that helps loosen up the pasta on the bottom so it doesn't stick, because I don't add oil to my pasta water. I know a lot of people do, so your pasta does not stick. And again, you do you. But I don't, because when you have pasta with olive oil already on it, sometimes it's harder for a sauce to stick to it because the olive oil or the oil is on the pasta itself. So in this case, I don't want my pasta to dry out, so we add a little of the reserved pasta water to help build a creaminess to keep the pasta from sticking. And then finally, for a little brightness, some lemon zest. And the perfect trick to zesting is, instead of going back and forth like this, you want to just kind of roll it and do it once down each kind of side. That way you never dig into the real white pith of the lemon where all the bitterness is. This way you only get the sweetness of that zest. And then for a little bit more color, some fresh cut parsley, some fresh ground pepper, then we're gonna give this a toss and find a bowl, and we're going to dig in. Look at the beautiful colors and that fall pasta. It's just so pretty. So social media photo ready. I love it. Actually, I think it could use a little bit more cheese. Do I get a holler for more cheese? More cheese. Yeah, see? That's the kind of kitchen we're in. Love it. All right, so let me grab a bowl and we'll well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just eat from here. What do you think?
Do it. All right, do it.
You guys are the best. Okay. Get the fork. So there you have it, fall pasta. And what's really wonderful is when it's springtime, swap out the butternut squash. Use something else. Use some zucchini that you have fresh from the garden. In the summertime, do tomatoes in this. Whatever is in season, it's all about those flavors that you are celebrating, and in this case, it is the perfect fall time celebratory pasta. So good. Love it. Okay. Here's the thing. Please follow me on social media. Savor It with Stacey on Instagram, also my website, savoritwithstacey.com, and of course here for more episodes on Binge Network and on YouTube. So I can't wait to cook together again. I'll see you later.